The British Bigfoot. What, How and Why, Part 1. For myself and many of the long-term researchers, we often forget that this subject is new to most people, and sometimes the only information to be found are the American research studies, and whilst they are brilliant at explaining the ways of the Bigfoot in the US, I think what we have here is a little different. Although the habits are the same, whether in the UK, Russia, Europe or the United States, the descriptions here are slightly more human, often being described as caveman-like and of a shorter stature than the US giants, though the word man is often followed quickly by ape or gorilla. An average height here would be around 7 feet tall, always described as hair covered but not fur. The coat seems to be sparse in some accounts and the skin can be visible through it, but I presume, like most humans on the earth, look different from each other. The same can be said for our forest friends, and that's how I think of them. Bigfoot is an American name that originated in the 1950s to describe the footprint that was left behind, not the figure itself. But alas, that name has stuck, and today it covers a whole host of upright, walking, hairy hominids. Each country has a story of an upright, walking, hair-covered giant, and the UK is no different. And it's the study of the UK Owaman that interests me, and learning as many of their habits as I can, not in the hope of seeing one or capturing one, merely from an understanding point of view. Their ways could benefit us greatly, and they and nature seem to be entwined somehow, and the planet and its health is so important, and we humans could learn a great deal. But accepting they are here is a hard enough job for anyone. Once you start to look at them in the way you would an unknown tribe, things start to become easier, and it becomes a little easier to understand how they could be here. I know there are many theories on what they are, from an ape to a spiritual being, but for the sake of this, we will view them as a race of people that choose to live life in an entirely alien way to us, a brother or a cousin of ours that has taken a much more natural path in life, and as centuries passed, they became more and more elusive as we spread farther and farther across the globe. We stayed in one place and farmed and brought our food closer to us, engineered how it grew and making it grow in conditions it shouldn't grow in naturally, while they forage on the move, always keeping account of what foodstuff is where, which rivers have the best fish, the best berry bushes, and an easy quick squirrel dinner on the run is something we would think absurd, but it was how we lived once. Before we became a sedentary race, we would walk miles in a day in pursuit of food, and some days would bring none. We were 100% fitter for it, and disease, although it happened, it was not in the epidemic way that it does now. There are tribes on this earth that can utilise every tree and flower in the woods and fields for a food source or a medicine. And with a good immune system, much stronger than ours, that beats off an infection much quicker, without modern medicine interfering. They are all round fitter and more adapted than us, and yet we seem surprised they live alongside us. We're the odd ones out, that need a multitude of gadgets to get throughout the day, whose every whim must be catered to and want fulfilled, or life itself is without meaning. In doing so, we miss the sunsets and the other earth gifts that Mother Nature gives us. And I feel by connecting with the research also brings the added bonus of getting people out and about and interested in our nature in their local areas. Over the next few weeks, we can look at some of the things we find at every sighting site and in the researchers' areas at present. We do know some of the patterns and travel routes now, and aspects of their behaviour and social structure. And in doing so, we hope to bridge the gap between us, the forest folk, and anyone new who wishes to know more about them and the research itself. So if you're interested in getting out, close to home or anywhere you have a feel for and you're unsure what to look for or how to start, I'm always around and willing to help. And there's a whole team of researchers that have far more on the ground experience than me. And I hope to bring you a few hints and tips on some of the things they do when out and about and the finds that they come across. The photographs that you're seeing now are from many of the researchers from the British Bigfoot group, and they're all across the UK. They're not just in the one area. These are things that people are finding in their woods when they're out and about. So if you have an area that you fancy going to look at, and you find a place, I would suggest that you visit it a lot and get to know it inside out. Over the seasons, as some areas are quiet for most part of the year, and then suddenly sign will appear. If you have a few small areas in mind, alternate your visits, but get to know one place incredibly well at different times of the year, different times of the day, and you will start to notice changes. And don't sneak. Go in, be open, make noise. Just enjoy yourself. Just have fun. You will look a lot less of a threat and become much more of a curiosity. And in that way, everybody benefits from it. Nature, us, and them. And for me, that's what British Bigfoot research is about. It's about helping all of us sustain what we have now and repairing what we've damaged, and that goes to the earth and to relationships, and we can all benefit from that, can't we? So thank you very much for listening, and I hope to join you all soon. Goodbye.